92.9 Dave FM, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Hi, this is Mira Davis, and this isn't any ordinary day. I am thrilled to be joined by the great Robert Plant. Robert, fantastic to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Congratulations and happy new studio. It's great.
I mean, I told you this off the air a second ago. You literally broke this studio's virginity by coming in and gracing us with your presence.
Well, I must admit it was quite an emotional moment for me too.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Now, we've been playing the song from your new record called Shining All Around, which is the Mighty Rearranger getting rave reviews. Do you read those reviews?
Well, yeah, I do really, because I'm so fired up about the whole project that I want people to get the idea of what we're doing. I mean, I've got a huge history. I'm very proud of it. You know, I'm very aware of how people feel about the years that have passed and the great songs and the not so great, and everything's trial and error. But this particular time now is very, very positive for us as a band. You know, I mean, we came to the United States from northern Norway, where we were performing for Nelson Mandela about 10 days ago with Peter Gabriel and Johnny Clegg from South Africa and Annie Lennox and stuff. And we moved through Russia, Lithuania, France. We've been all over the place. And to come to America, where the kind of memory of Led Zeppelin is always there, is fantastic for me, because the reception has been amazing live. And to play these new songs, they kind of, more than anything I've done really in my whole time since 1980, this is about the most switched on and sort of focused that I've ever been. And it seems to be, it has a similar kind of intensity for me to what it used to be like way back. Well,
the band Strange Sensation and sounding, people have described them live as not trying to be Led Zeppelin. They're their own band.
Oh, yeah, sure. It's too late for all that. There's no point. I mean, what was great, but it doesn't follow that you don't have to reproduce it for the rest of your life, but you can modify the intention. And what it was in the beginning was this kind of a mixture of kick-ass rock and roll mixed with the experiences that you get from traveling and meeting people. And Strange Sensation is we've been everywhere from the Sahara Desert, sitting in the sand with, you know, Ali Farka Touré and all these tribal guys to Rockabilly Hall of Fame. You know, there's a lot of energy inside the musicians and a lot of different I guess, influences at work here. And it's just so exhilarating for me. We played in Nashville last night at the Ryman, and it just was, the response from the people was, it was deafening. And it went on and on for like nearly 2 hours. And it's quite heartwarming for me because, you know, I mean, it's just a great time. You know, I could go on and on and on, but it's great.
Well, tonight you're at Chastain Park. We're on with Robert Plant, and you're talking about traveling around the world and performing. And coming up this weekend is the Live 8 concert, which I know that you have, it's a subject close to your heart. And what are your feelings on the concert? How do you think it's going to play out? And
well, it's not so much I mean, of course, it's the concert when we're talking about music here, okay? But more importantly, if you like, the concert, the musicians, us, relatively high-profile musicians, we have at least a service to provide, in as much as we've been creating songs for a long time, and there's a certain amount of popularity. And if we can align ourselves and just say, hey, why don't you check this situation out? The music is there as a vehicle, just as it is a normal concert where it's a pleasure, and it should be a great pleasure for people to come and enjoy. Then these, these concerts around the world are to illuminate the situation that underprivileged, poorer countries are loaded with debt, which the G8, the big countries have, you know, and the World Bank have, you lend money out, you get it back. But the thing is, I've been to Africa. I've been in the Sahara. I know what I've seen from my elite position as I drive along in a beaten up, you know, 4x4 truck. I can see that I'm out of there, but those people never get out of there, and they need help. And we need to cut the debts. We need to start thinking in you know, in the time of peace and love, we were supposed to be brothers, you know, and there's so much brotherly stuff that we've got to bring into our social awareness. and I suppose it's people say, oh, there's another old hippie going on and on and on. But in truth, everybody's trying to make it better in the music world, and the actors, people who have some influence can just say, check this website out. It doesn't even involve money. It really just involves awareness and being aware that there's a responsibility by your government and our government in England to, and I must say that surprisingly, Blair seems to have actually been able to move a couple of mountains, but he has a lot to answer for.
So you think they'll be paying attention at the G8?
Oh, I think they've already done it. I mean, they preempted it. I mean, maybe Bob has, Geldof's probably gone about it in a really bombastic fashion, but he's created so many waves in England, you can't believe it. He even asked the French to sail a flotilla of boats across the English Channel so that they could all march up to Scotland. Now, it's one of the busiest waterways in the world, with huge tankers that take about a week to put the brakes on. And he wants guys in rowing boats to row from... well, I suppose, it's a good idea. It'd be all right if it was only Viking ships, but unfortunately, they just happen to be huge. So... But the insistence is, and the idea is, let's just see what's at stake here. What are we talking about for our governments financially in comparison to the amount of money spent in other areas? To allow poorer countries around the world, everywhere, to be able to spend more money on drugs to combat HIV, to take on malaria. I mean, Bill Gates has got that foundation that's trying to work on new anti-malarial things. I mean, when you go through South America or wherever I don't know whether Americans travel a great deal, and people say, well, there's very, very small percentage of people have passports. You've got such a beautiful country, such a beautiful place, and such great people here. Maybe you don't need to, but we live in an overcrowded, teeny-weeny island, and people get about more and they see a lot, and we just have some kind of responsibility to just open up the issue a little tiny bit. Agreed.
Let me switch gears for a second. You were the keynote speaker at the South by Southwest conference this year. And how did some of the newer musicians react to you, or some of the things you said, or what did you say, and what was your mission in going there? It's a conference of all new artists together. And
yeah, but not just new. I mean, there's lots of great players there. I mean, there were... Tony Joe White was playing there, Elvis Costello. I mean, he's got to be like older than me.
And Brian Wilson.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, I mean, there's loads and loads of great artists.
Right.
A lot of British groups were playing there. There's a BPI, British Phonographic Industry presence there. It was great to be in the middle of all that. And if anything, it was an overkill, because you can't really get any perspective as to what's really going on, because while some fantastic country and western artist is around the corner, you've got the guitarist who played with Howlin' Wolf in a blues bar. So you can't really spread the lust for music is so great, and you can't really satisfy it, as quite as easily as I satisfied this studio just. Without even feeling the thing. Yeah. So, but it was absolutely incredible to be there, and I was invited to make the keynote speech. Now, that in itself is kind of
well, from a rock star to concerts to a keynote speaker, it did seem kind of odd.
But it didn't work like that. It was like you and me sitting on a pair of stools with a microphone each, and the guy, Bill Flanagan from VH1, I know him quite well. He's also travelled out in Mauritania and in the desert and stuff. But he's also a mine of information about music, and he's very funny. So, he was talking about the new album, about Mighty Rearranger, and he was talking about my love for, say, American garage punk music, pre-MC5. Electric Prunes, Question Mark, and the Mysterians, all the whole gambit and the beautiful tapestry of American music, and then bringing in like little stories about Led Zeppelin stories, and it got so funny. I mean, it was hysterical. It was supposed to be 40 minutes. I think it lasted 90, and at the end of it all, I had to take questions from the floor, which was a bit. I was very nervous beforehand, because I thought it was going to be, I want to push my record. But I mean, I'd sleep with anybody, but not Bill Flanagan,